What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this Tuesday? Tuesday evening, night, whatever you want to call it, ladies and gentlemen. All I know is that we are less than 2 days away from the start of the 2024 NFL Draft, and the Arizona Cardinals are almost on the clock. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all for tuning in today. We're going to have a fun-filled show for you today. It's been a while since I did a stream in the later part of the day. I'm usually more of a morning type of guy to love to get my streams done here. And let me know here in the chat if you do like these afternoon streams. Let me know here in the chat. And obviously, as you're coming in, do me a huge favor, smack up the like button, do it for the algorithm. And yeah, we're going to have a good time today. We're going to be talking about the latest report here from Ian Rapoport about it coming down to either Malik Nabers or Marvin Harrison Jr. So we're going to be dissecting exactly what he said today. And yeah, we're just going to be content coming your way for the draft. This is an exciting time for Cardinals fans, being that we are sitting at the 4th overall pick. And if you do not know, I did release a video today. I still do feel in my heart of hearts that the Arizona Cardinals are going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. That's just me. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, everybody's got their own opinions, and let's see how it all shakes out. We don't know what's going to happen 1, 2, 3. Although we all kind of speculate it's going to be quarterback. And I've been talking about that for months. That's going to be quarterback. And the end of the day, we don't truly know. But let's go ahead and dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the latest report here from Ian Rapoport. Now, actually, real quick, the reason why this stream is actually a late one is because I was actually going to stream around 6, but I wanted to watch the Phoenix Suns game, hopefully making it 1-1, but the Suns are absolutely disappointing, and that's kind of the reason why we have a late stream here. So just FYI, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't a Sun stream. We're going to focus on the Cardinals and definitely some happy things. So let's get to the first contribution of the day. We got my guy, Big Mama Scooby, up in the house with the $1.99 donation. He says this: let's get it, Marvin Harrison Jr. for the win. Well, let's talk about the most recent report here from Ian Rapoport, and we're going to be dissecting this together. And let me know in the chat, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Cardinals are going to trade back, or do you think they're going to stick at 4 and pick? Let me know here in the chat here, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said a little earlier, we are going to be looking into the latest Ian Rapoport's report right now. Once I get it uploaded, we're going to be playing it here right now. And let's go ahead and get this started. Let me say hi to the peoples here in the chat. We got my guy Drama. We got my guy Mikey. We got my guy Joel, Jude, Kitty, CB, Corey. What's up, y'all? Appreciate y'all for being here. All right. Now that we did that, let's go ahead and listen into NFL Insider Ian Rapoport on what the Arizona Cardinals could potentially do with the 4th overall pick. Let's listen in.
The stay put option here does seem to be receiver would make the most sense, I think, for them, with all due respect to those mock drafts, which have them going edge. And, from my understanding, it doesn't seem like there's a huge separation between Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr., but if they're picking, they got to pick one. And, I would go with Buda Baker, who is a great evaluator. I think Bugatti Marv, which is not actually his nickname, but certainly would make some sense. I think that would, be a potential face of the franchise there alongside Kyler Murray. But if they're going to trade, I just don't imagine it would be that far. Like, if they're so close on evaluations, if they say Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers are really close, we're good with either, then they can't go maybe past the Giants at 6, right? Because you got to end up with one of those guys if that's the direction you go.
So here it is. This is what it all comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. I know there is a lot of people that like to listen to certain people. There's some people that love to listen to the big national media. There's some people that like to listen to the local radio stations, right? Everybody's got their preferences at the end of the day. And that's completely fine. I think what it comes down to is all the predictions, all the debate is going to be ending in the next 2 days. And that's one thing that I'm super excited about. Finally, we're going to be getting our response, right? Because we've been hearing a lot of different things out there, right? The Cardinals are going to stay at 4. The Cardinals are going to trade back with either the Vikings. We might now trade with the Giants, right? And possibly getting Roma Dunze, right? There's just so many different scenarios in every which way. And I think it's definitely a situation where everybody's just got an opinion. That's what it is. Everybody's got an opinion on the matter and what the Arizona Cardinals or any other team in the top 10 should do. That's what it comes down to. To me, when I hear Monty Austin for talk in terms of doing what's best for the team, I don't know. I feel like the Arizona Cardinals should go after Marvin Harrison Jr. if wide receiver is what they want to do, right? Now, here's the way I like to think about it, right? Now, in my mind, a month ago, I was talking about quarterback. When people have been doubting me, right? People have been saying all these things like, oh, the Cardinals are going to go wide receiver and Marvin Harrison Jr. Now that's still a possibility, right? That's still a possibility. I'm not shooting that down. But for the most part, most national people out there are saying it's quarterback. Exactly like I said over about a month and a half ago. But now we're kind of sitting here with the Arizona Cardinals with the 4th overall pick, and we're kind of playing a tricky game if the Arizona Cardinals are going to decide to trade back up, because this is kind of how it's so tricky. It truly is tricky. Now, I'm not one of those guys that feel like it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust. Like, truly, I'm not. I like Marvin Harrison Jr., and if we are picking at 4, it has to be Marvin Harrison Jr. And I want to be very, very clear. There's a big difference between Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust, or the way I like to think of it, right? To me, I feel like the Arizona Cardinals need to get one of these top 3 wide receivers. I feel like that's more important than the Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust. Now, do I want Marvin Harrison Jr.? Yes, of course I do. Absolutely. Do I feel like it's written in the stars? Do I feel like the Arizona Cardinals, everything they're talking about and everything they're saying leads up to a guy like a potential Marvin Harrison Jr.? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. But I feel like it is what will make me more upset. I guess that's the best way to describe it. What will make me more upset is if the Arizona Cardinals do not get one of these top 3 wide receivers. And that's Rome Odunze, Malik Nabers, or Marvin Harrison Jr., right? So this is kind of what Ian Rapoport was saying. He ended up saying that according to him, right? And like I said, opinions, right? Now, I do choose to believe a lot of these big time insiders because they do know the scoop, right? A lot of times people are out here in the Arizona world. We all have opinions, including myself, right? I could be wrong. I could be right, right? We don't know. We don't know until 2 days from now, or at least less than 2 days from now. But with what Ian Rapoport ended up saying is that the Arizona Cardinals actually favor Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr. one and the same. Now, if I were looking at all 3 of those wide receivers, I would at least bet $10 on the fact that I felt like the Arizona Cardinals would favor Odunze and Marvin Harrison Jr. equally, right? I like Malik Nabers, and I do truly believe that he is going to be a star in the NFL, right? Especially if you are in the right situation. But if truly the Arizona Cardinals feel like it's going to be a tie between Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr., it's such a tricky game. It's such a tricky game to kind of play the game of maybe we can trade back, right? Because yes, Odunze will still be on the board, but then they're settling for their, I guess, wide receiver too, right? I guess that's how you describe it, because if they truly think Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr. are kind of, I don't want to say one and the same, because they're completely different players and they're completely different play styles, right? I'm not saying this. I'm just kind of repeating what Ian Rapoport ended up saying and what he heard. He hears that the Cardinals truly like both of them. Like it's like 1A, 1B essentially is what it is. 1A, 1B to the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers. Now, what can the Arizona Cardinals do, right? Can the Arizona Cardinals trade back to 11 with Minnesota, right? We've been talking about this verbatim, and we've been talking about this to the point where my ear is almost coming off. The Cardinals can eventually trade to 11, absolutely, but you can't stay at 11 and expect any of these 3 wide receivers, right? Let alone Marvin Harrison Jr., let alone Malik Nabers, and also not even Odunze is going to be there at 11. So what the Arizona Cardinals need to do, if this is truly what their plans are to trade back, here's the way I like to look at it. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to listen. It's obvious, right? What you need to do as your general manager, the general manager, Monty Ossenfort, he's going to listen to every single offer that's available. And that's exactly what he should do. He should listen, right? If there's something that blows his socks off and it's to the point where it's like, whoa, this is a crazy deal, he might take it, right? Now, would I take it if I was the GM? Probably not, right? But it's not my team, right? I'm always speculating, right? I'm a fan of this Arizona Cardinal organization, and I'm going to roll with Monty unless he proves me otherwise, right? As of right now, I love the Paris Johnson pick, and let's see what he does with this 4th overall pick. If he does decide to trade back, you need to trade back within the top 10 to get yourself either Roma Dunze, Malik Nabers, or Marvin Harrison Jr. If that does not happen, I don't understand. I don't think I can describe the frustration that I would feel as a Cardinal fan. And I'm not sure if you guys feel the same in the chat, but I don't think I could describe the frustration I would feel as a Cardinal fan. For the Cardinal fans out there that are feeling like Joe Alt is a possibility, I guess you can throw Joe Alt in there, right? But I think at the end of the day, the Cardinals are going to get a wide receiver, right? Whether you like it or not, they're going to get a wide receiver, whether that's a Dunze, Malik Nabers, or Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm fine with either of them. I'm fine with either of them. Do I have favorites? Of course I do. Of course I do, right? It's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr., Odunze, and Malik Nabers. Even if we get Malik Nabers, I would still be happy. And that's the perfect situation that we're finding ourselves in right now as Cardinal fans, right? Now, obviously, you are looking for best fit, right? Best fit for your team, because we hear this all the time from Jonathan Gannon. We hear this all the time from Monty Ossenfort. It is going to be a situation where you need to put the team first. That's the type of players that we're looking for. I don't know Odunze personally, right? I don't know Marvin Harrison Jr. personally. I don't know Malik Nabers personally. I don't know them personally, right? All I know is what they can do on the field. And they're very, very good, talented players. But here's my fear. Here's my fear. Let me get to this contribution real quick. BBH, appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much. He says, so hyped for the season. I got season tickets. Also, please get Marvin Harrison Jr. Expecting a big draft day for the Arizona Cardinals. Awesome. Well, I appreciate the $5 dono. Thank you so very much, BBH. Absolutely appreciate you for being here. But let me continue to kind of go on my spiel here, right? This is what I'm fearing here. This is what I'm fearing. The fact that if the Arizona Cardinals do decide to play a gambling game like we did last year, right? Like we did last year, and decide to trade back with Minnesota and get that King's ransom, like people were saying, right? But now it's not just Minnesota, right? Now the New York Giants have entered the chat. Now the New York Giants have entered the chat. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar, ladies and gentlemen? I've been talking about this for about a month or at least 3 weeks now. Does that sound familiar, right? Top potential trade back options right now, right? Of course, I don't get kudos at all, but it's okay. I digress. Let's keep moving on. This is what I fear, right? You need to get one of these top 3 wide receivers. If it is truly quarterback, and let's say the Arizona Cardinals trade out of that 4th pick, right? And they get themselves, somewhere. Let's say Minnesota, right? Let's say Minnesota. And there's a quarterback that goes to 4. The Chargers are probably going to go offensive line, maybe Joe Alt, maybe a wide receiver. The New York Giants are probably going to go a wide receiver, especially if all 4 quarterbacks are taken. And did you guys not see that most recent tweet from Caleb Williams in the flirtatiousness that we've seen with him and Roma Dunze? Did y'all not see that? Did y'all not see the latest tweet here from Caleb Williams coming out here and saying, oh, I just saw Roma Dunze on a flight to Denver? Anybody see that? You know what this tells me? That there is at least 1 or 2 other teams in the top 10 that's probably looking to get one of those top 3 wide receivers. At least 1 or 2 or 3 teams that is looking to get a wide receiver. Now, can the Arizona Cardinals still trade with somebody? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do we have the ammunition? Do we have the draft capital to trade back up? Of course. Yeah. Monty Ossenfort set us up in a good position that we have 11 picks. We got 6 picks in the top 100. Yes, absolutely. We got it. Right. But it takes 2 to tango. It takes another team to say, yes, I am willing to drop to 11 for you, Monty Ossenfort. I'm willing to drop to 11 for you, Arizona Cardinals. And of course, because of that draft capital you're offering me, of course, I'm willing to drop to 11, right? Of course. What the Arizona Cardinals are going to need to do, if they do decide to trade back to, let's say, for example, 11, they need to get in front of Atlanta, which there's not really a fear of mine that they're going to get a wide receiver, but because they're in front of whatever. But Chicago is what I'm really fearing. Chicago is what I'm really, really fearing, that they might go after Roma Dunze. Heck, some might say the New York Jets might be another possibility for a wide receiver. Possibly no. They might go offensive line, or they might even go a weapon for maybe the tight end Bowers, right? If he ends up dropping, right? We don't know. But heck, we can throw both of those teams in there, Chicago and the New York Jets. So what does that mean? The Arizona Cardinals need to get to Tennessee. Now, we got some good things coming to our favor. The Arizona Cardinals have relations, or at least Monty Ossenfort hopefully still has relationships with the Tennessee Titans, right? Fingers crossed. But you're playing a gambling game. Yes, you got 3 first-round picks, right? You got the 11, you got the 23rd, you got the 27. But are you able to get that blue chip player, right? That's the big question out there. Because is it worth it, right? That's the question. Is it worth it for the Arizona Cardinals to trade back? Is it? You're going to get 3 first-round picks, but are you going to get a player to the caliber that Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, or Rome Odunze is, right? Or are you going to get a caliber player like that? I know there's some people out there that are saying, oh, well, they can go Dallas Turner, right? They can go Dallas Turner. Okay, I mean, yeah, we can go Dallas Turner. You can get a cornerback. Okay, that's true. Cornerback is such a hard position to get right. It's such a hard position. Y'all remember when we drafted Patrick Peterson? This man struggled in year 1. Year 2, obviously, we know the rest. Patrick Peterson was one of the best first-round picks we've had, right? In the most recent years. We know how his career ended. We're not going to talk about that. I'm just saying. Cornerback is a very hard position to evaluate and get right. And the transition to the NFL is very hard. Edge, if we get a dog, maybe Turner, right? But is those guys going to be the guys that's going to change your organization, right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a player that's going to change this organization. That's what you're looking for. And I truly do think that if we get Odunze, Nabers, or Marvin, obviously Marvin being my top, I think we would be in a good position. If we stay at 4, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. It has to be. It has to be. If they get Malik Nabers at 4, whoa. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at all. But it would be really hard to swallow that Marvin Harrison Jr. was right there in the fingertips and you just kind of chose a different wide receiver over him. I'll be fine. At the end of the day, I'll rock with Nabers, right? I'll rock with them. He'll be our wide receiver 1, but it'll be such a hard pill to swallow. At 4, the option is Marvin Harrison Jr. If you do decide to trade back because you want to risk it and you want to get more draft capital, and here's the thing, you don't even need the draft capital. You don't even need it. The Cardinals have 11 picks. How much more picks can we accumulate? How much? What are we saving up for? Marvin Harrison Jr. will change this organization. I promise you. And I get there's people out there saying, well, Larry Fitzgerald didn't win us a Super Bowl. Okay, you're right. Larry Fitzgerald didn't win us a Super Bowl. You're right. He didn't win us a Super Bowl. But he gave us damn good football. And we never had a consistent quarterback. So you can't put that on Larry Fitzgerald. We never had a consistent quarterback. So you cannot put that on Larry Fitzgerald. He had what? Warner for what? 3-4 years? Carson Palmer, and in the later parts of his year, although very, very good. And then when he was getting older, he got Kyler Murray. But let's not forget all the other quarterbacks he played with, right? Skelton, Max Hull, Kevin Kolb. Come on. You can't forget that. Don't use Larry Fitzgerald as an example as to why we shouldn't go Marvin Harrison Jr. Don't. Let's go to the next contribution. We got my guy, JK Gamer. What's up, JK? Appreciate you for being in the chat. He says, K from Good Morning Football thinks the Cardinals should trade down. Like, nah, I want Marvin Harrison Jr. Here's the thing. I respect everybody's opinion. But I can't fathom to think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be a consistent team to trade down. At some point, you are here at the 4th overall pick to get one of the top 5, 6, 7 best prospects in the entirety of the NFL. We had such a crappy year that this is what the Cardinal fans want to be rewarded with, right? We want to be rewarded with one of the best players in the college level. I'm sorry, did I say it in the NFL? My bad. Let me rephrase that. Being how bad of a crappy year we had, we want to get one of the top 5, 6, 7 prospects in the entirety of the collegiate level, right? And you don't want to find yourself in the situation again. We hear Monty Ossenfort say this all the time. You do not want to be in this position ever again. He says all the time. Then why not take advantage of the position? Get yourself a solid wide receiver that's going to change this organization. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, or Rome Odunze needs to be the pick. The Arizona Cardinals need a weapon for Kyler Murray. And for the people out there saying that Kyler Murray needs help with the offensive line, right? He needs time to throw. I agree with you. I'm not saying don't focus on offensive line. And that's where people kind of get murky. You can still give him a weapon and still focus on the offensive line. We have 11 picks. 11 picks. Maybe the Arizona Cardinals decide to trade up that 27th overall. Maybe they like J.C. Latham that darn bad that they decide to trade up. Maybe they get Terry Arnold, which is the guy that I really like. Here's the thing. Opinions are opinions, right? There are some people out there that want the haul. There are some people that want to stick and pick at 4. There are some people that want to trade to 6 and get a second-round pick from the Giants, right? And still getting one of the top 3 wide receivers. With what we've been hearing from Monty Ossenfort, to move out of that position, you need to be blown away. Absolutely knock your socks off. I can't believe they offered me this. I need to take it. You need to be absolutely blown away with this offer. Monty Ossenfort has came out and said it. That if he gets an offer that blows him away, almost similar to the idea of him in his house, if somebody knocks on the door and gives him an offer, he's going to tell his wife and his family, we're moving out. If you don't believe me, here we go.
Talks with multiple teams, and multiple teams have checked in with us. And, I think the way I look at it is like, guys, I love my house. I love where I live, okay? My wife loves where we live. If all of a sudden there's a knock on my door and someone's gonna offer me something, and I'm gonna look and see what they're offering me. And if I open that up and it's something I'm not expecting, hey Shannon, let's go pack up, it's time to roll. Okay, so, I think, that happens beforehand, it happens on the clock. But, I think, different teams have different motivations, but we'll see how this one plays out next week.
Yes, we will see. We will see how this one plays out, because that's really the only way I would feel like it would be necessary for the or not necessary, but I would feel okay with the Arizona Cardinals deciding to trade back is if they get a haul that's absolutely, like I said earlier, knock your socks off. Fantastic. And honestly, 3 first-round picks sounds good on paper. But let's be honest. Are we going to find ourselves in a situation where the Minnesota Vikings are actually going to be competitive in that first-round pick next year? Might be somewhere in the teens, might be somewhere in the 20s. Are they going to make a playoff run just like the Texans did to us, right? Are we going to be playing a game of, we got 2 first-round picks? They're not 2 top 10 picks. That's different. Yes, I get it's a first-round pick, but the values are completely different, right? So people aren't thinking about that. People are thinking, okay, we got three first-round picks. We got 2 next year. Okay, but what if that second pick is in the 20s? Yeah, he could still get a good prospect, but he's not top 5. Look at the results of first-round picks. Please, I say this all the time. Look at the results to every first-round pick. There's a website out there. I promise you. You tell me what the percentage of superstars come out of the first round, starters come out of the first round, and players that are 1 or 2 years away from them getting replaced. Honestly, let me know. It's not all about, I got 2 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks. Okay, last year was perfect. Oh, yeah, that worked. It worked. Unfortunately, the 27th overall is not a top 10 pick like it was projected to be, but we can't just keep playing the same game. Like, we can't. The Cardinals are in this position right now with the 4th overall pick. You can get arguably the number 1 prospect in the NFL. I said it again. Number 1 prospect in the collegiate level. I feel like I got to pull the trigger. That's just me. Let's go and keep going with the super chats. We got my guy BBH saying, hey, Mike, want to do something to support? Always enjoy watching you since you had 1K. Do a game time giveaway / partner possibility if you're interested. Hit the, honestly, right now, I am in talks with somebody to potentially do a watch party. I was trying to get a little bit more, what's the word? Organized. They just never got back to me till literally 2 days ago. So we are potentially going to be streaming live somewhere. TBD. We don't 100% know the details, but if you're rocking with me, you'll know. Follow me in my social medias. I'll keep you up to date. I appreciate the contribution. Thank you so very much, BBH. Look at the first round picks, right? I use the Raiders as an example all the time when they ended up having 3 first round picks and it did nothing for them. Now, granted, I trust Monty Austin for a heck of a lot more than I do their front office, right? But more doesn't always mean good. It doesn't always mean good. In this draft class, these 11 picks, if the Cardinals can get 5 starters, actually not even that. If the Cardinals can get 4 starters with these 11 picks, that would be a home run. That would be a home run. If the Arizona Cardinals can get 4 to 5 starters with these 11 picks, that would be a home run. First round picks don't always work out. We've seen Isaiah Simmons. Now we're hearing people saying that the Arizona Cardinals might not pick the 5th-year option of Zaven Collins. I get it. Completely different regimes. It's just an example of first-round talents. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We got Paris Johnson Jr. because we traded out to trade back up. Huge move. But I feel like people are using that as an example of what Monty wants to do all the time. I wouldn't be mad at it as long as we get one of the top 3 wide receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr. being preferably. But honestly, if you're going to ask me, if I was Monty, I would stay at 4. I would stay at 4. Because Marvin Harrison Jr., to me, is going to change an offense from the jump. I don't like the argument of Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald never gave you a ring. I hate that argument. I think it's actually weak. Larry Fitzgerald's quarterback situation was not even fair. He had Kyler for, a year or 2, maybe 3. Carson Palmer when he got older, although still was producing. Kurt Warner for 2-3 years? It's not fair. You need good weapons around your quarterback, your franchise quarterback. You need to get one of these top 3 wide receivers. And I feel like if the Cardinals trade back, you're playing such a tricky, risky game. An absolutely tricky, risky game. Now, I've heard the idea of the Cardinals moving over to 11 and then the Cardinals moving to 5 with the Chargers. If that can happen, then Monty Austin is truly playing chess. For freaking sure. If that truly happens, man, that would be a dream scenario like I would never have thought we were going to be able to do. If the Cardinals trade out of 4 and move to 11, and Minnesota gets their own little quarterback, whoever falls, and then the Arizona Cardinals trade to 5 and get Marvin Harrison Jr. still, or a wide receiver they see fit, Woo! I don't know what else to say with that. That would be masterclass. Let me just tell you right now, that would be masterclass. Do I see the Arizona Cardinals doing something like that? I don't know. You know what I mean? Would I want it to happen? Of course I do. Absolutely, I would love it to happen. That would be Mountain. Let Monty cook for freaking sure. It's just, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. I don't know if the Chargers are going to want to move off of 5 with Marvin being there. If the Giants are sitting there at 6 and it's quarterback, the Giants might go wide receiver. And guess what, guys? You are left with one wide receiver. One wide receiver. And here's the thing. It's not even your choice anymore. It's who falls to you. It's not even your choice. It's who falls to you. And like I said earlier, I like all 3 wide receivers, so it's not a big deal to me. But, I mean, you know what I mean? And on top of that, you got to get in front of Chicago. Primarily Tennessee, hopefully, fingers crossed. But maybe Tennessee might want Joe Alt. They might be sitting there saying, no, we need offensive line. Joe Alt's going to be the guy. And let's say, for example, Atlanta loses their first round pick. Let's say, for example, Atlanta loses their first round pick because of that tampering situation. Then Chicago's right there with Rome Odunze. And guess what? The Cardinals are at 11. And we get nobody. We get none of the top 3 first round picks because we got greedy. So what we need to find out is a lot of different things. We need to find out, is the Arizona Cardinals going to trade back to 11? And if that's the case, what is your contingency plan to potentially move up? Because yes, you can get yourself Brian Thomas, right, Jr. Yes, you can, right? Yes, you can go for other of these wide receivers, but they're not the top 3 wide receivers. People in my comments keep saying this is one of the best draft classes out there, Mike. We've heard that before. And this might be a better draft class than that last time. But still, it's not, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees. If the Cardinals drop to 11, this is our worst case scenario that can happen. The Cardinals drop to 11. The Minnesota gets their quarterback, so it's quarterback. So 4 quarterbacks. The Chargers get a wide receiver, probably Marvin or Malik. The Giants get another wide receiver, Malik or Marvin. Tennessee says, no, I need to get offensive line. Our offensive line is weak, and Joe Alt has fallen to our laps. We are not trading with you, Cardinals. We're getting Joe Alt. Let's say Atlanta forfeits their first round pick because of the tampering with Kirk Cousins. Then you have Chicago right there, and they can snag Rome Odunze away from the Arizona Cardinals. And then we get no 3 first round. We get none of those guys. And this is what I'm talking about here. So everybody's fully aware, because I know there's a lot of people who are like, hey, this man just talking. Let me give you a little insight here in terms of what I'm talking about. Caleb Williams ended up tweeting this morning. Obviously, a lot of prospects are going over to Detroit. He ended up tweeting this. OSHIT, y'all. I just saw Rome Odunze on my flight to Detroit. Big fan. Rome Odunze retweets it. I'm actually the pilot this morning. Don't worry. I'll get Caleb to Detroit safely. Y'all, it is not a good position to be in. Because right now, if the Cardinals do trade to 11, your best trade-up candidates would either be Tennessee or Atlanta. In my opinion. You're playing a tricky game here. You're playing an absolute risky, tricky game. Honestly, that's one of the main reasons why I released the video that I did this morning, because if I was a general manager, and I know I have so many people in the comments saying things like, well, that's why you're not the general manager. Your latest mock draft was absolute terrible. Your mock draft sucks. Okay, that's fine. People were saying the exact same thing last year with my mock drafts being absolutely terrible. And guess what? I get the Michael Wilson correct. I got the Paris Johnson Jr. correct. Well, I guess technically the first round was always going to be Will Anderson Jr. for me. I never did that scenario, but I did list it as a possibility. Garrett Williams was a hit. Clayton Tune was a hit. There might have been another person that kind of, I can't think of it right now. A lot of these hits. We know Clayton Tune didn't come out to be that great. We saw a one-game sample size. It didn't look so good, so I'll swallow that one. That was a bad one. But you're playing an absolute tricky game if you do decide to trade back, especially if what Ian Rapoport ended up saying today is absolutely correct. For the people that are just joining us, this is exactly what we're talking about. We heard Ian Rapoport, insider of the NFL Network, come out and say that the Arizona Cardinals actually have Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers as 1A and 1B. Let's listen into what Ian Rapoport had to say.
The stay put option here does seem to be receiver would make the most sense, I think, for them, with all due respect to those mock drafts, which have them going edge. And, from my understanding, it doesn't seem like there's a huge separation between Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr., but if they're picking, they got to pick one. And, I would go with Buda Baker, who is a great evaluator. I think Bugatti Marv, which is not actually his nickname, but certainly would make some sense. I think that would, be a potential face of the franchise there alongside Kyler Murray. But if they're going to trade, I just don't imagine it would be that far. Like, if they're so close on evaluations, if they say Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers are really close, we're good with either, then they can't go maybe past the Giants at 6, right? Because you got to end up with one of those guys if that's the direction you go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Let me give a huge shout out here to my guy, Call In. You're right. I didn't give enough credit here to Clayton Tune. He is our tush push cheat code. Facts. You're right. Slap myself in the hand for that. You're right. You're 100% right. I didn't give him enough credit. You're 100% right. And he was against one of the hardest defenses out there with no prior experience. You're 100% correct, Nisha, as well. So you're right. So I'll give myself a pats on back. Good on bringing in Clayton Tune. My main thing is that they brought in Desmond Ridder for a reason. That's all I'm saying. I do want to see a real fair evaluation in training camp and a real fair competition between them two and to see who's QB2. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers being 1A, 1B, according to Ian Rapoport of the NFL Network. If that's the case, then your only option here is to trade back with the Giants. It's the only thing I could think of. Unless somehow the Cardinals trade to 11 and move to the Giants. But I don't see a world like that. If you trade back with the Vikings, you might have 1 to 2 trade candidates. And yeah, that's all you need. That's true. That's all you need. You're just risking a real possibility that Atlanta might lose some sort of draft capital. Would it be a first round pick? Maybe. I don't know. We're not going to know until draft day. I almost promise you. If the Arizona Cardinals are sitting there on draft day and Atlanta Falcons lose their first round pick for tampering, you can't trade back. You can't trade and expect to get yourself a top 3 wide receiver. You can't. This is going to be so interesting. So interesting to figure out how Monty Ossenfort is going to be playing this. The Arizona Cardinals are in a very, very interesting situation in a franchising-altering decision in Monty Ossenfort's hand. There's no way else to put it. Monty has a huge decision to make. Let me know here in the chat. Who do you guys want? Who do you guys want? Let me know here in the chat whether it's trade back, get this person, or that person. Let me know here in the chat. I'll start giving some shout outs here. Let me know here in the chat. Now, before I went on this live stream, I ended up posting a poll question on my community post. I ended up asking you guys, the Bird Gang, do you feel like the Arizona Cardinals are going to trade back? And so far, we got close to 200 votes, with me only posting this an hour. So that's actually pretty impressive. The fact that the Arizona Cardinals are sitting in a situation that only an hour in and we got close to 200 votes. That's actually pretty amazing. But most people are saying you stay. You stay at 4. I'm impressed. I'm impressed by you guys. Truly. Pats on back for you guys. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Let me do this. I'm going to put a poll question here. So I'm going to give you the poll question right here. For the people watching in the Twitter world, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get involved in this poll question. You do got to move over to the YouTube chat. But the poll question has been posted. Let me know what you guys think. Do you stay or do you trade back? What should the Arizona Cardinals do? Honestly, you can hear everybody, right? Everybody's got an opinion. I've heard Peter Schrager. I've heard Albert Breer. I've heard everybody and their mother have an opinion on this. Everybody on their mother have an opinion on this. But to be honest with you,
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
It doesn't matter. It matters what Monty is going to do, right? Somebody's going to be right. Is it me? Am I going to go 3 for 3? Am I going to go 3 for 3 or 2 for 3 and the Cardinals not getting Marv? We'll see. Somebody's going to be right. Right now, we got 39 votes over close to 100 people on the YouTube side. Run it up, YouTube. And if you guys haven't already, smack the like button. Definitely do me that huge favor. Do it for the algorithm. Right now, we're at 40 votes. What do the Arizona Cardinals do? We got 88% saying stay. Granted, that's only 40 votes. It's not compared to the close to 200 votes in the community tab that I'm so excited to see how that actually ends up tomorrow. But so far, the consensus is most Cardinal fans want to stay. I agree with you. I agree with you. We got my guy in the chat says, I can see. So my guy in the chat says they should stay at 4, but I can see them trading back, which would be dumb. My guy in the chat says Marvin Harrison Jr. gotta stay. Stay. Somebody in the chat says, I mean, the Bears aren't dumb enough to trade back. Why are we? And peep this. Peep this too, ladies and gentlemen. I actually wanted to talk about this. So thank you so very much for reminding me. Chat, appreciate that. Peep this. Check this out. So there was a tweet retweeted by obviously one of our favorite reporters out there, Ian Rapoport. And I retweeted it myself. And I posted something. So let's take a look at this and tell me if this changes your mind. Truly, I'm looking for everybody's opinion here. Appreciate you guys for being in the chat, by the way. X/Twitter world, thank you for being here. YouTube world, thank you for being here. Keep running up the poll question, please. This is what I saw this afternoon today. And you tell me. You tell me if this changes your mind. Check this out. Check out this. Okay. So So it would be nice if I actually uploaded that specific tweet, right? It would be actually very, very nice if I uploaded that specific tweet. All right, let me upload that right now. So peep this. We had Ian Rapoport come out and say this. While the Commanders and the Patriots have received calls from teams attempting to move up for a quarterback, Washington has shown no indication it would move, per me and Mike Garafolo. New England would move for the right offer, but the Pats just haven't gotten such an offer yet. Let me reread that. Let me reread that. While the Commanders and the Patriots have received calls from teams attempting to move up for a quarterback, Washington has shown no indication it would move, per me and Mike Garafolo. New England would move for the right offer, but the Pats haven't gotten such an offer yet. And this is what I retweeted. If the Patriots at 3 is not getting that right offer, the Arizona Cardinals will not settle. Stick and pick at 4. Who agrees? You're telling me here that the offers are being rung in. Now, I'm not putting stock in the Commanders. The Commanders need a quarterback. They need a quarterback. They got rid of Sam Howell. At least the Patriots have Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is a bridge quarterback, and that's all he is, right? That's all he is. But if the Patriots aren't moving off of that because they haven't received the right offer yet, why should the Cardinals? What are we going to settle for? It better be the Hall. Because honestly, right now, if I was Monty, I would decline that Hall too. No doubt. There is multiple calls fueling teams to potentially trade up. And I almost promise you, it's probably these teams right here. At least 2 or 3 of those teams are potentially trying to move up. And here's the funny thing too, right? Here's the funny thing. They're obviously calling 3 to get themselves a better quarterback, or at least a choice of a better quarterback. Maybe JJ McCarthy ain't that high, like people have been talking about, right? I think out of desperation, there's going to be a team getting JJ McCarthy. Out of desperation for sure. Whether that's the Giants or whether that is the Vikings if they decide to trade up. Because the Giants will probably take a quarterback if he falls to 6. If they don't get a trade-up partner. A lot of things being put on that. But why should the Cardinals have to settle for something like that if we're not getting the right offer? You know? The right thing to do is stay up 4. Listen to the offers. And if something doesn't blow you away, and I'm talking about you got to put a player in there too. 3 first-round picks sound sweet on paper. Sounds good, right? Sounds good. 2 first-round picks next year sounds good. Sounds sweet. It doesn't guarantee you nothing. Nothing. It guarantees you nothing. It doesn't guarantee you anything. You gotta stay. You gotta stay at 4. To me. Gotta stay at 4. It's just as simple as that. But we'll see. We'll see, right? Like I said earlier, it's one man's opinion. We just got the people in the chat here rising up. Appreciate y'all for being here, by the way. As of right now, we got 58 votes. Run it up, YouTube. We got over 100 people here in the chat. Over 100 people here on the YouTube side. The question to you guys is, what do the Arizona Cardinals do? Stay or trade? 88% says the Arizona Cardinals should stay. And I agree. I agree. The Arizona Cardinals should stay. Marvin Harrison should be the pick. It should be the pick. We got my guy here in the chat saying the best trade offer I've heard yet was 2 first-round picks plus Patrick Surtain and a 3rd-round pick. That's not bad. That's not bad. 2 first-round picks, Patrick Surtain. And here's the thing: where did you hear that from? If you don't mind me saying that. Was that before or after I posted a video about 2 or 3 weeks ago about any way the Cardinals should trade with the Broncos is you need to give us a player? Sutton, possibility, but obviously Surtain, however you say his name, he needs to be in the package if the Broncos are really an option. If that's the case. If that's the case, I mean, but that's the thing. Here's the thing, too. You get Patrick Surtain, right? You also got to pay him. Are the Cardinals going to take that on? I agree. I like the package. I think the package is sweet. I don't disagree with you. I think the package is sweet. But the Cardinals need to pay him. I believe his 5th-year option was just picked up, right? I think it's guaranteed $19 million. Is the Cardinals going to pay that? That's the question. How cheap were the Cardinals? Okay, well, I'm sorry, not cheap. How the Cardinals weren't giving out big-time expensive contracts and free agency, right? I like it on paper. It's just, is it going to happen? That's the question, right? I love Surtain, whatever you want to call him. I think it's Surtain. I just don't know I don't know if the Cardinals are going to be willing to make a trade and then obviously on top of that, pay him $19 million. We'll see. What's up, Kenny, with the $2 dono? What's up, brother? He says, if top 3 going, who you picking? If trade. Okay. Very, very, very confusing. Very confusing. If top 3 going, I'm assuming you're saying if top 3 quarterbacks are going, who are you picking? Marvin. Oh, Marvin. Yeah, Marvin. But this is what I said earlier. What I am very more. Okay, let me rephrase it. I wouldn't be upset if the Cardinals still land one of the top 3 wide receivers. If you're picking at 4, it should be Marvin. And per Ian Rapoport, it almost kind of seems like the Arizona Cardinals, which makes sense for us to go wide receiver. He says Malik and Marvin are 1A, 1B to the Cardinals. That's what he says, right? We don't know. That's his interpretation. But if we're paying at 4 or picking at 4, it's Marvin. It's Marvin at 4. If the Cardinals decide to trade back with said Giants, then who falls, right? If Joe Alt goes 5 for some crazy reason, Marvin or Malik or Odunze. My wide receiver rankings is Marvin, Odunze, Malik. But I truly do like every single one of the wide receivers. I really do like all the wide receivers. I truly do. Here we go. Yep. So top 3 wide receivers. Oh, okay. I apologize. Top 3 wide receivers go. Oh, okay. Now you're saying quarterbacks. I apologize. If top 3 wide receivers go and you're picking at 11, I mean, it's so hard to say because who falls, right? It's so hard to say because who falls. I like Dallas. I like Dallas Turner. I think he's a really good prospect. It's just I'm always going to have that behind my mind of we traded back to risk it and it didn't pay off. Unless Brian Thomas Jr. can be an absolute stud, all-star, it would be really hard to go into 2024 with no number 1 wide receiver for your franchise quarterback. Hopefully that makes sense. I probably answer that in circles. But yeah, if all of those guys are gone, Dallas Turner, But I'm hoping the Arizona Cardinals' thoughts are we need to get ourselves a wideout. We can't go into the season with what we have right now. We can't. And like I said earlier, unless Brian Thomas comes out to be an absolute stud of a superstar, I don't know. I don't know. One of these top 3 wide receivers is a must for the Cardinals. You're picking at 4. You don't ever want to be here in the situation again. Monty has said it verbatim. He doesn't want to be in this situation ever again. Why not potentially get yourself one of the top 5, 6, 7 best prospects in college? Why not? But Marvin Harrison Jr. is my top wide receiver. We got my guy here in the chat. In Monty, we trust. As of right now, Monty has not given us anything to say otherwise. Yeah, I'm putting the faith and thoughts and hopes and prayers that, yeah, he's going to get it right? It worked out for us in year 1 with very, very little time to evaluate, right? He got the job, in April? He got the job in February or March, and then he had to draft. I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree. But that doesn't mean we don't have an opinion, right? Doesn't mean we don't have an opinion. We got my guy in the chat here, Malik Nabers here in the chat. What's up, Malik? Appreciate y'all for being here. Here's what it all comes down to here, ladies and gentlemen. Less than 2 days away. Less than 2 days away, we're going to be finding out who the Arizona Cardinals are going to pick. I'm for it. I'm for it. We're going to be closing up the poll question right here. Right now, we got most of the fan base saying the Cardinals should stay. I can't imagine the reactions of Cardinal fans if we are leaving day 1 with the Cardinals trading and not getting Marvin, especially if he's there at your lap. Interesting. We're obviously going to be covering it all. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. But this is exactly what we've been waiting for. This is exactly what we've been waiting for here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we're going to be ending the live stream. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let me know if you guys like these late streams. Let me know here in the chat below. I've been doing a lot of my streams here in the 10 a.m. slot because just kind of I like to get my stuff done. But let me know if you guys like these late streams here, especially if you're watching this on a playback. Let me know here in the chat below if you do like this time a lot better. I'm seeing a lot more engagement. I'm seeing a lot more people here, and it probably makes more sense. 10 a.m. There's people working at school. I'm fully aware. Let me know here in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be closing up shop. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to every single one of you guys. We will be knowing our response here pretty soon. Have a great rest of your night. We got less than 2 days away for us to figure out who the Arizona Cardinals are going to be picking with that 4th overall pick, if they're staying, if they're trading back. But as always, have a great rest of your day. Good night. Go Cards.